Thank you, Axel, for the introduction, and good morning, everyone. As already mentioned, my name is Eli Ottesen. I'm working here at our Stavanger office, and I'm a solution manager upstream. And hence, I'm being responsible for the roadmap and EC production. So, today I'm going to talk to you all about the new capabilities that we have delivered in the latest releases and also what will be coming in the 13th release that is planned for December. And since this is a very short session, I will just kind of focus on some main topics, but I really hope that you will sign up for deep dive sessions. There will be a QR code at the end of my presentation, so please sign up, and then we can spend time talking in more details on the topics you are interested in. Okay, so EC production, that is kind of at the core of our kind of hydrocarbon accounting part of our solution landscapes. Is one of the oldest modules, and it's been around for a very long time. As some of you might remember, in the 11 series, we shipped a completely new modules for deferment and forecasting. And then over the releases that was to come, we have improved those modules. We have added functionality, both based upon what we knew we had to do, but also based upon feedback we've gotten from you customers and also from our projects. So we've been kind of doing that, and now I think I can say that yes, there will probably be some more small things we will add in the future as well, but I think I can kind of finally say that with the 13th release we have kind of the complete solutions for both deferment and forecasting. Yes, and then of course what I will also focus on, and what has always been very close to my heart, that is the enhanced usability. We really want the user experience of EC to be good. And we know, based upon the feedback we have been getting over the past years, that there has been some pain points. There are kind of some functionality that is kind of too cumbersome to use. And we are really kind of focusing and constantly trying to improve and making sure that the user experience is as good and also as efficient as possible. Because when I talk about enhanced usability, it's not only about the number of clicks you have to do in each screens, but also about automation, taking away manual tasks, having the users really focus on what is adding value and not doing kind of mundane, repeatable tasks. And just kind of, since we have limited time, I will focus on one example of our kind of enhanced usability, and that is default or carry forward values. So, if we move on then to the first topic, that is deferment. Kind of it's like two different areas we are constantly focusing on, and that is usability and also functionality. So when it comes to usability, a few releases ago, we already kind of started having automatic creation of deferment events, and that was based on tag values. But now we have also introduced the functionality of creating deferments based upon the number of hours a well is on. So if the well is on for less than a defined number of hours, a deferment event can be created for you automatically. We have also enhanced our logging of the deferment calculations. Again, it's about spending less time on troubleshooting, having a good log showing you whatever has been processed, but most importantly showing you if something went wrong, what went wrong, so that the users again will have to spend less time digging into what went wrong. And of course, we have also added functionality. This is functionality that we had in our old deferment versions that has been asked for by our customers, that we have now reintroduced as well. And that is period calculations, being able to run deferment calculations for whatever period, that's up to you, and for the assets that you would like to. And also we have support for what we are calling wells in overlapping events, because as you know, a well can be part of several deferment events at the same time, and then it can be very valuable to be able to see that. So if you have an event with a well in it and you click on that well, if that well is also participating in other events, you can see that in a separate section at the bottom of the screen. Moving on to forecasting. There are kind of three areas that we have been focusing on now in the past releases and also in the one to come. And that is kind of the first one might sound a little mundane, but I think it's still important. It's important to have kind of the order of the screens in the tree view being as close to the process as possible. So we have kind of done some reordering there. We have also done a lot of kind of consolidation across the screens, making sure that they are kind of aligned and giving kind of the right information at the right time. Then we have added support for something called planned wells, because there might you might have wells that might not be drilled in the future. And of course, when looking into the future and generating forecasts, you want to be able to see, if I drill this well, how will that affect my planned production? How much more can I produce? So we have introduced the capability of creating such wells, and as long as a well is a planned well, it will only show up in the forecast area, not in any other screens. But if one of these wells is actually drilled and comes into production, then it's very easy to transform this well into a normal well, and then of course it will show up and be treated as any other well in easy production. We have also done enhancements to what we called well curves or well production curves. So in the past, if you had deferment for a well, when the kind of well started up again after the deferment, the production had declined in the period it was deferred, and of course that is not correct. So now we have updated our calculations in such a way so that when the well starts producing again, it will pick up on the curve exactly where it was when the deferment started. Okay, moving on to enhanced usability. What have we done and what will we be doing in the next release? We have introduced a new screen that is called production efficiency. This is something that has been asked from one of our customers, and I do think it's something that will add value to all of you, because everyone wants to be able to see how the different assets are performing. And now we have kind of added a screen for being able to do exactly that, kind of having some simple calculations to calculate the efficiency, and of course these can be changed. The product comes with a default, but these can be changed as you would like as well. So it really gives you a better insight into how your different assets are performing. We have done something around well test validation. We have always had kind of a screen with a powerful and quite complex way of comparing a new well test to kind of the historic well test to see if it is actually correct. And of course, that is still going to be there. We are not changing that screen, but we also see that it is quite cumbersome to use if you're only interested in kind of seeing at a glance, okay, how is this new well test compared to the previous ones without doing any kind of calculations or anything on top. So in this new screen, you can easily see it's graphical. It's a graphical view. You select the well test you want to compare with, and you see at a glance how is this new well test performing compared to the previous one. Is it kind of on the same line? Can it be validated or not? We have also done enhancements when it comes to creating new objects. If, for instance, you are to create a new stream, previously you had to go to multiple screens, first defining the stream itself, then defining the stream sets it should be part of, etc. What we've done now is to kind of merge all the kind of related configuration into one tabbed screen. Again, it's about enhancing the usability, having kind of fewer clicks, making it easier to create new assets in easy production. We have also enhanced our class and object validation, so it's now much easier to access. You can access it directly from, for instance, the daily production well screen. Just click a button and you will get up the validation that is applicable, and it can be, of course, changed. And it's also hierarchical. So if you define validations on an area level, that will then be applicable to all the wells within that area, unless you kind of specify different validations for the well themselves. So again, it's about expanding on functionality that we already have and that has been kind of proven over many years to work. And then last but definitely not least, Sven Helge already talked to you about our kind of new task list. And that I think it might seem small, but I do think it is really a huge improvement, meaning that you can very easily on your mobile phone get up a task list. What are the tasks I need to focus on today? What is the status of them? You can pick the tasks again on your mobile phone. You can complete them. You can very easily get some KPIs. Of course, you will not get all the details on your mobile phone because that's really not, again, it's not usable. So it is about using mobile apps where applicable and kind of assisting you and taking away as much manual effort as possible. And of course, this is fully integrated with our business process automation, and it fits very well in, I think, in easy production, where you typically kind of have a process that follows the same steps for most of our operations. So it's very easy to kind of incorporate such a task list into your daily or your monthly processes. Then, at last, let's talk about default or carry forward values. It's something that has been, it's come up. I kind of probably heard about it more than 10 years ago. So it's come up in a lot of kind of projects over the time. And but we haven't really gotten around to implement it until now. It's typically, if you have kind of large onshore operations. And there are kind of, the wells are spread wide across. The operators will not always manage to get to all the wells in one day. There might be traffic issues, like for instance in Canada in the winter when there is heavy snow. Probably not all the wells will not even be accessible. So in order to cater for that, it's now possible to define if I don't have value today, what should the system do? And you can then choose between having yesterday's value copied forward, or it could be a defined value, or it could even be a more complex a number calculated by a user exit. And we do think that this will this is again about usability. It's about taking away the manual effort. You don't have to go in and put in a number that is just yesterday's value when the system can do that for you. And it's also about quality of data, ensuring that all the data required for the further processes are available. But of course, this cannot be done without having some kind of validation in place to ensure that you don't kind of get stale numbers. So we have check rules in place where you can define for how many days is it allowed to have the same number before kind of getting a warning in place. So that can be defined as well. And that was my very short introduction to the new capabilities of easy production. I really do hope that you will sign up for the deep dives. So please use the QR code, and I will be happy to talk to you in more details on the selected items.